Hi guys, and welcome to another top 3 Pokemon type video. It's a series where I go through every single Pokemon type and list out my top 3 within every type. And for today's typing, we are gonna go through the fighting type Pokemon. And as always, feel free to comment down below your favorite fighting type Pokemon. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this video, and hit that notification bell so you know when this goofball is sending out more videos. Now, before we go into the list, I will say, so far, with all the lists I made previously, the fighting type was the hardest one to do. Mostly because there are so many good fighting types, it was hard to actually pick one that was better than the other, especially the top 3. It would be almost impossible to do a one type. 3 was a good one because now I can reduce numbers to a couple Pokemon and then like, okay, which one do I actually like the most? And that's what is different from like the ground type, where I was more like, should I try to do like other PokeTuber does when doing these kind of lists? And then we go, okay, no, they usually just only one Pokemon per type. I'm doing 3, and I felt like, no, I should be as honest as possible. So if, for instance, Nidoking, that both are poison and ground type, and I like Nidoking a hell of a lot, which y'all guys already know. So I'm gonna be the most honest, and so, but the fighting type was extremely hard to do, but I have managed to pick out 3 Pokemon I like really much in the fighting type category. And also, as an announcement, this weekend I will be at Sci-Fi Convention in Malmo City, this Saturday actually. So if you like my content and want to say hi if you're there, feel free to do so. It's always nice to know if you watch my content, and if you have any critiques or tips, I'm willing to listen, and if I can do it, I will. And also, if you have a video you want me to do, feel free to shout it out. I will do my best to make it happen if I can. If I cannot, I will wait until I can, because I want to provide good content for you guys. That's the reason I'm doing YouTube. I don't want to just do videos randomly. I'm trying to do my best. And I'm still in the phase where everything is a bit new, but also very terrifying. Like, I'm nervous every time I put on the camera on me. So I'm still trying to get those jiggers out, but I'm still trying to get all the good contents out for you guys. So if you are in Malmo this Saturday and you want to meet me in the Sci-Fi Convention, feel free to say hi. Now, with all that said and done, let's get into the list, shall we? And at number 3 we have Lucario. Now Lucario is one of the greatest fighting types out there, which we have seen in VC and most gym leaders that is a fighting type specialist either has Lucario since it was introduced, or Machamp. Now, Lucario is a very balanced Pokemon with its attack and defense, especially attack and attack stats. And I love the typing of a fighting steel, even though it kind of look at first, but it works for Lucario very much. But one thing that piques my interest into Lucario a bit more is that Lucario is the one Pokemon I can draw a direct correlation to Dragon Ball. Thanks to it has Aura Sphere, which I think was introduced when Lucario was introduced. Correct me in the comments if I was wrong. But also, it goes from very blue into the shiny form as a yellow one, which is basically a Super Saiyan. At least in my eyes. So, unless I'm doing a special themed playthrough of Pokemon game where Lucario is in, I will always default nickname a Lucario, especially if it's a male one, Vegeta. Now, if it's a female, I might go with Guinea, or nowadays Cauliflower Kale. But if it's a male Lucario, I would always go with Vegeta, since Vegeta is my absolute favorite character in Dragon Ball as a whole. And Lucario is the one thing I can draw parallel to Dragon Ball. Now there's other Pokemon maybe couldn't have the same thing, but I don't think so. But Lucario does it best, and that's why Lucario is number 3 on this list. And then we go down to number 2. And number 2 is Heracross. Now, I do mostly for Heracross is because of the anime, definitely. Because I love Ash's Heracross. It's pretty strong and it has funny quirks. And I always found like to try to drink the sap out of Bulbasaur and Bulbasaur hits it. Like, it's a funny duo comedian scenes with that happening. But Heracross is extremely strong, and you should be happy to have one. And yes, if you're with my team of playing Pokemon tabletop RPG games each and every Friday, yes, I know what I'm saying now. I love Heracross so much, but I'm trying to find a good balance. But thankfully you said that, I am starting to think I might go with Heracross instead of a Scizor. Though Scizor has better defense and resistance. But back to Heracross. Another thing that I love to Heracross is the way it was introduced in Gen 2, like you have to headbutt the tree to get it. And which was a good key if you don't have friends or didn't know about the in-game trade for a female matchup, you could try to headbutt a tree to get a female Heracross. And why is that important? Because in Gen 2, we have one of the toughest gym leaders that's hard to beat, which is Whitney and her Miltank. And you can have all the negative of Miltank from Mikey at MJTV. But Miltank is a tough one. It's really hard to beat thanks to it being pure female, has a tracked, rollout, and stomp that can flinch you. And in Gen 4, it also has a lump bear, so you can't really do, you need to do a status condition twice. And of course it has Miltank that heals it up. With potions from Whitney, when it's low on health, makes it a really hard combatant to face. Especially since none of you Pokemon normally has the stat that evens out against a Miltank, and Miltank is pretty fast for being a cow Pokemon. Let's be real. Cows normally I don't think is that fast, but Miltank has a good speed stat and good defense and stuff like that, so it's hard to beat. But with a Heracross, especially if you get a female, now you can even the odds. Not only is the stats even, but also like Heracross and Miltank are both fully evolved Pokemon, which means, like I said before, the stats are more even. I think Miltank is faster and Heracross, so if it has a rollout out in the beginning, you might be having a really hard time since Heracross is weak to rock moves. But it's not stat, which is good. If it's early on, you still have 1 or 2 chances to knock it out with Rock Smash, even though Rock Smash in Gen2 was weak. I think it was buffed in Gen 4, but if you want to have Rock Smash, but it's still a stab move that's super effective against Miltank, so that's why I think Heracross, thanks to what it did for the games, with the hardest gym leader we have ever faced in so far, and the anime really makes me like this Pokemon. I fell in love with it, and man, I wish I had a Heracross in most games. You can have, but pretty good. And at number 1, my most favorite fighting type Pokemon is Primeape. Now, in the games, Primeape does not really do much more than either fighting types. I think even the stats are not that. I think the stats are on the lower end. But I fell in love with Primeape thanks to the anime. I just love the way Primeape works in the anime, especially with Ash Primeape. And the thing like, oh yeah, I'm gonna rage punch you until you faint. That's like kind of good lore, but also every Pokemon cannot be happy and smiling. We need some rage Pokemon, and Primeape does that pretty darn well, I would say. And I fell in love with Primeape so hard, so like anytime I do a Kanto game, just like Nidoking line, I always have a Primeape on me. I never use a Matchup or Machoke or any other fighting type. If I'm using fighting type in Kanto, it's a Primeape. And now thanks to Scarlet and Violet, we have an evolution of Primeape, which is Annihilate. It was nice to see a Primeape getting some love here with that, but I don't like it at all. Yeah, we went with the lore like a Primeape could get so angry it dies. But we know if it's a new move called Raise Fist, if it used it a couple of times, it will evolve to Annihilate, which means technically in the lore, that Primeape used Rage Fist so much, like his rage went above his own limit, he died, and thanks to that death, still being extremely angry, evolved into Annihilate. But I love Primeape, and Mankey was actually my first shiny in Scarlet and Violet. So I had a shiny Annihilate and when I went with the League and all the storylines through Scarlet and Violet, which is awesome. But mostly I fell in love with Primeape, as I said, in the anime, and as many Pokemon fans out there that have seen the first season of Pokemon, or at least old enough to have remember it, still pretty darn angry that Ash never went back to get it. Not only had it had a hard time listening to Ash, but it's the episode when Primeape's character arc finally gets solved and he starts to listen to Ash and really trust Ash's decisions. Ash decided to give it to a random fighting type specialist to train it up. And that's the last time we see a Primeape. At least what I know. I haven't watched the last season where Ash is the main protagonist. So if he got Primeape back in the last season, tell me in the comment, please. I'm telling you, doing like in the comment, but I would like to know. Or I can just Google it later. Either way, I will find out. But he never went back for it. And what that pisses me off is if he had Primeape during his first Pokemon League ever, I truly think he could have gone one more round in that league. He would not have lost that fight with his friendly rival thanks to a sleeping Charizard that didn't want to listen to him. And now, when I take this up to some of my friends that also likes Pokemon, they usually talk about how, if he did that, he would not have had to force Charizard to do his character arc, and Charizard would still not listen to him, which I'm calling bull right here and now, which you probably should, and I did it back then, because that scene was not necessary to happen. If he had Primeape that listened, he could have gone a bit further, hopefully. Or not, they could have done it so like his rival won either way, but it not in that last luxury way of losing because your Pokemon won't listen to it. Because it took until the Simon Island arc in Pokemon, when he crashed 4 batches, then have his first championship win, to get Charizard to listen to him. And what did because he faced a Poliwrath that did not use any water moves. He used an ice move that should not have worked as well as it did, but I think in that part Pokemon, they have not really decided that fire type could not get frozen. So he gets frozen, and then Ash spends a whole day and night massaging Charizard and just talking to Charizard. So that arc will still happen. The only thing that would be different if he kept Primeape is you might have and probably gone one maybe 2 steps further into that first league championship of yours. So, as many fans, we wish they could have Primate there, but we didn't get it because I think the writing team for the anime forgot. But for me, Primate will always be the #1 fighting type because of the anime, and that's how this list is made for today. And I hope you like this video. And as I said, if you are in this Malmo's sci-fi convention this Saturday and want to say hi to me, if you watch my content and like it, feel free to say hi. I'm always happy to say hi to fans or anyone who like watch my content. Until then, have a happy day and bye.